Hello everyone, and welcome back to Hiveswap Friendsim. Now, I think the last time we picked it up was about 2 weeks ago, when Part 9 came out. Well, just the other day, or just today actually, Part 10 came out. And we are going to cover Of Faraway Lands and Nearby Pals. Now, I do have to apologize once again that my other more scripted projects are taking so long to get started. It's really fucking hot around here, and my feathers just can't fucking handle it, which has been a real pain. It's been preventing me from really trying to work because I just get really fucking tired the moment I start doing anything. But today, it is 10 p.m., and I am just getting around to doing anything because it's just cooling down. So we're going to get into some Friendsim. You've been lucky enough to acquire a bounty of friendships since you arrived on this planet. But there's still an emptiness nestled right in the crook of your heart's atria. Maybe making one more friend will fix it. Maybe this next one will expand inside your chest like a sponge in the bath, pushing out all your sadness, loneliness, and insecurity. After all, number 20 is the charm. Oh. Oh, my mouse just happened to be on him. That's a JoJo reference, basically. Fuck you. We're gonna start with Zebede Tongva, which has been, as I'm to understand, a character that a lot of people have been interested in or very excited for. So, just in the fandom in general, not anyone specifically I know. Tonight you're abuzz with excitement. Wait, no. Your palm husk is vibrating in your pocket. One of your friends is contacting you. You pull it out and a notification pops up. Buzzing is requesting to add you on Chitter. The message is accompanied by a little icon, blue, with a silhouetted winged animal. Some of the similarities between this planet and your own are starting to stretch your powers of belief in coincidence. Whatever. You pull up the app and read the messages from, could it be, your potential new friend? Or your potential new friend. Oh my god, hi! I hope it's okay to contact you. Oops, I should introduce myself, haha. I saw your picture on Sarava's stream. I'm one of their biggest fans, but now I'm one of yours. Love those looks. Anyway, I would love to chat if you're open to it. If not, it's okay, but you can just ignore me, haha. Everyone else does. Could this be the universe reaching benevolently down to do you a solid? It's like being given a giant pile of money unasked. You didn't have to do anything for this friendship. You didn't even have to walk anywhere. All you had to do was join the fabled social media and it literally appeared in your pocket. One moment. I'm looking for something. There is something in my room that I require the usage of, and I'm not sure where I placed it. Oh, there it is. My bad. I needed to grab a packet of something. Your hands are shaking a little as you go to respond. You don't want to seem too eager, or do you? You have no idea how to approach this. You thank Buzzing for his compliments and say that you would be happy to talk sometime. In an instant, a notification pops up inviting you to download another app. You do it and a video screen opens. Suddenly, you can see your new friend's face. He is sweetly round and roly-poly and smiling at you broadly. Oh dear. 1 second, actually. I just realized I do not have enough liquid sustenance to do what I was doing. Smiling at you broadly. Hi! Wow, this guy's fun. I'm Zebede. I hope it's not too sudden to gripe you like this. Gripe. Troll Skype. Gripe. Is it okay? Oh my god, you don't have to respond to that. Sorry for being weird. Let's start over. How do you know Sarava? Apart from being extremely friendly, this troll also seems to run both sides of the conversation by himself. Befriending him is the least effort you've ever put into anything. His enthusiasm is really cute, but there's something about him that unsettles you. Looking at his hopeful face gives you a dark stab of humiliation you don't quite understand. You swallow down the discomfort, and you tell him the story of your friendship with Sarava, leaving out Sarava's personal background. He hangs on your every word. That's so cool! I wish I could hang out with you guys. Oh my god, not that I'm implying you'd want to hang out. It's just... no one ever comes to visit me. He takes out his phone and taps a few keys. A notification box pops up in front of the video. It's a direct message from Zbuzzing that just says, sad face. You ask him why that is. I live in the middle of nowhere. It's good for the bees, but I guess no one really thinks it's worth the effort to come all the way out here. It's just me and my looses, and he can't really do much around the hive. Sigh. It's fine. He really says the word sigh out loud. Despite saying it was fine, he seems dejected with a distinct downward angle to his shoulders. Sorry, his shoulders. His buzzy accent is kind of getting to you. Ask him if it's really fine. You tell him that you'd understand if he is not okay with it. After all, you say, it would really hurt your feelings if your friends didn't make any effort for you. Isn't that what friends are supposed to do? He gives you a grateful smile, some tension releasing from his frame. Oh! I would never ask that of anyone. I don't want to be annoying. Like, sometimes I really wish someone would take the time to visit, but I totally don't blame any of my friends for not coming. Like, I understand that you have to decide which friends come first, and I just don't. Some people are just cooler and more fun than me. It's understandable. This really must be your lucky day. First of all, no one has threatened bodily violence towards you in the past 10 minutes. Your fear for your life is at a low-key reasonable level. Second, this troll is making it really obvious that what he wants you to do. This is a total slam dunk of a friend opportunity. Say you'll visit. Zebede's face transforms utterly. It's astonishing. He goes from sullen and shadowed to utterly radiant. Your heart pangs with an overwhelming surge of fellow feeling. True, you've seen other trolls react emotively at the sight of meat and blood and your own body sparkling under the moonlight, but Zebede is the only one with such an extreme reaction to friendship. Man, you are really feeling this little guy. You'll come? Really? That's so cool! Thanks! This is gonna be good, or so good. I'm gonna get all the best snacks, and my loses is really cool. You'll like him. This is so exciting! You leave Zebede to his preparations, even as the bubble of joy inside you goes a little wobbly. You aren't used to such high expectations from prospective friends. Mostly people just expect you to be an imbecile. You absolutely can't screw this up. You made a promise to your brand new friend. Unfortunately, that promise is to visit him in a house that is, by his own admission, so far away that not even people who know what the fuck is going on can be asked to find it. You haven't thought this through, but that's never stopped you before. First things first, what old friendships can you call on to help you out, i.e., who is likely to have a vehicle of some kind? You could always call up Tagora to see what he thinks, but you don't want to be too needy with him. Amicia, well, doesn't look tall enough to reach the pedals. Zebra, just no. You are a strong, independent alien who don't need no troll. You also don't think aliens are allowed on public transit, and you don't know the number for troll taxis. So, you'll do crime. Perfect. What did Connell do when she stole a car? Punched the lock off with one big fist. You won't be punching off any doors, but eventually you find a car that isn't locked, almost like someone helpfully left it for you. Haha, sucker. It pricks slightly at your conscience as you slide into the seat and fire up the autopilot, heading out into the country once again. But recently anything that isn't brutal, indiscriminate violence kind of doesn't faze you. So you stole a car. Big deal. It's not like anybody died. This is it. So begins your gradual slide into total moral iniquity. A hardened criminal. That's you. Zebede does live pretty far out. He hadn't been exaggerating. You used the time to curl up in the back seat and catch up on some sleep, all the while trying to ignore the fact that the car reminds you of being inside a large, squishy animal. At least you get a few radio channels out here. Zebede's hive is big and buzzing. Literally, you hear a persistent drone of bees, and standing right outside is the boy himself. He's so excited he is bouncing on his toes, clapping his hands together. He has a gold symbol on his shirt. You wonder if he's a psychic. You've finally been here long enough to pick up on racial stereotypes. Go you. You're here! You actually came! I seriously can't believe that someone actually went out of their way to visit me! Well, you don't really have a way to go out of, but you keep that to yourself. You are more than happy to accept the friendship points. Zebede leads you into his hive, which, like Scylla's, looks like he made a lot of it himself. Or Skyla's. A lot of it himself. Bleh. There are hanging baskets of flowers and plants everywhere, and a zigzag shelf holding up a stack of colorful books in one corner. In one corner is a big screen TV and an entertainment center. Zebede vanishes into another room and leaves you to get comfortable on the big couch, which is unsubtly striped yellow and black. The buzzing is pretty loud in here too, and you look around for bees. You're not thrilled about the bees, honestly. You wish there was some music on your phone to drown them out. You're thinking about following Zebede and seeing if he needs help when your phone starts to vibrate. You look down and recognize Sarava's username. Answer. Might as well. You have no idea how long Zebede's going to be in there, and if there's anyone with music, it's this troll. Hey, dude. Fuck, I don't remember this guy's voice particularly. Sarava streams for sweeps. Got it. Hey, dude. Sup? Can't believe it took you this long to get a chitter, Mel. Damn, you're like really lost without my help, huh? Looks like you only got 2 followers, though, Lamau. You can feel some nameless tension in you bleed away into the thump of lo-fi chill-pop beats murmuring softly through Sarava's mic. If only you could just go spend time with your cool friends and stop making new ones, but even the thought makes your stomach wring itself out like a washcloth. There's no point wishing for things to be different from how they are. You'd do anything for new friends. Anything. You ask them if they have any chitter advice, on how to be a cool guy online. I mean, you definitely came to the right troll, but I don't know if I should be, managing your brand more than I already did. It's just risky for me, It's hard enough maintaining my image as is. Other streamers always on my bulge, Lamau. Doesn't mean we can't hang, though. It was really chill last time. Also, I need my clothes back. You assure Sarava that you still definitely have their clothes, and that you totally did not destroy them in an epic battle to save a giant collie. That's cool, no worries or anything. I was wondering if you wanted to hang out today. If not, it's chill. I got all sorts of shit I can get up to, Lamau. You know how it is. But yeah, let me know. Oh wow. How did you suddenly become so popular? Maybe this is what happens when you finally get online. Not only are you hanging out with one friend, you've got another one clamoring for your attention. Social media is amazing. Oops. Hold on. Social media is amazing. You tell Sarava you would love to chill, but you're currently out in the middle of nowhere hanging out with someone else. Maybe Sarava has heard of him? Zebede Tongva. Surely everybody on the internet knows each other. I don't know him? Sorry, lol. You spell out Zebede's Chitter handle. Sarava's face does a complicated dance between shock, worry, and wry amusement. Oh dang. Lamau. What are the odds? Small internet. So Sarava does know him. I mean, I know of him. Man, awkward. Are you guys tight, though? You tell Sarava that you aren't tight yet. Pretty loose, but you're working on it, which is why you're currently in the middle of nowhere sitting on this bee-themed couch. Sarava scratches awkwardly between their horns. Is that like what you go online to do? And that whole scene? Scene? The only scene you know about is the friendship scene, and possibly the clown scene, and the meat scene. Actually, you may be in more scenes than you give yourself credit for, and you get the feeling you are right on the edge of another one. You can taste it, and it makes your stomach growl. You tell Sarava whatever the scene is, you're definitely not part of it. You don't even know what they're talking about, so what are they talking about? Not to talk shit or whatever, because God knows golds who live in a glass hive of tenuously curated online social action shouldn't throw stones or whatever. Fuck knows I get up to some shit back in the day. But you maybe shouldn't hang out with this dude. Especially when you're like, right on the edge of breaking out yourself. I mean, you have to be careful with this shit. I told you what happened to the internet, or to me. Internet fame isn't a joke. They gesture vaguely toward their missing eye. Here, let me just link you. A link pops up in the Gripe chat box, and you follow it to what appears to be a fanfiction account. Nothing wrong with a little fanfiction. You've never been much of a writer yourself, but you're pretty pro anybody doing whatever they feel like as long as it's not gruesome murder. You're a real chill dude that way. I mean, right, yeah, same, Lamau. I'm not trying to judge or whatever, but you'll see what I mean. Scroll down. You scroll past the first few pages. Most of these seem to be about some band that you've never heard of, and then almost at the end you find... Oh, damn. This appears to be a fanfic about Sarava. You don't click, though. Or you don't click through. You kind of get the idea from the tags. Well, Sarava is a big deal, after all. You guess it makes sense that people would include them in their, fantasies. You do it all the time, in a friend way. Yeah. You get what I'm saying now, though. I mean, live your dreams, right, Lamau? Any guy on the internet can write whatever he wants about me, but, like, I don't want to see it. Just a heads up, you know. You get how that could be a little awkward. You tell Sarava that you will be careful of your infant internet fame. Also, hey, Spaghetti God. It has a great Popeye event. Or it was a great What? Though you doubt anyone will ever write anything about you, who'd want to read about your dumb fuck exploits? Yeah, Lamau. Come over whenever, I'll smoke you up. Great. More bug ass. You end your call with Sarava and navigate back over to Zebede's fanfiction account. You pick one of the ones not about Sarava, one of the teen-rated ones. You don't have anything against erotica, but maybe you'll save it for later. You don't know any of these characters, and the context is doubly indecipherable, the troll music business. But if this really is Zebede's writing, he's pretty good. You have such talented friends. Hey! Sorry it took so long. Or sorry I took so long. Shit. Zebede sneaks up on you from behind. You quickly lock your phone, but apparently not quickly enough. How did you find this? Oh god, you went searching for me? I thought we were friends. What? Of course you're friends. Friends don't go digging through each other's shit. I would have showed you my fic if you just asked. You tell him that you absolutely did not go looking for it. Sarava gave it to you when they called you up, just now. Zebede's face closes down. Is it just you, or has the sound of the bees gotten louder? Oh, right. So your cool friend Sarava told you. I see how it is. No, they just called you. You just answered the phone. No, it's fine. I totally get it. Even coming all this way, I'm out here. I'm still not a priority. It's fine. It's not even a big deal. I'm totally used to it. You and Sarava, what are you, mate sprids? You are absolutely not mate spritz with Sarava. You are not mate spritz with anybody. As far as you know, fuck, having so many friends is exhausting. Oh, really? Like, your life is so great. I get it. You have just so many friends, and you're so popular, and everybody wants to spend time with you. Zebede is crying and not trying to hide it. It's very sad and extremely awkward. You feel terrible. Also kind of like a dickhead. You're always doing all this complaining about your lot in life. When you tell the truth, you've actually got a lot going for you. You have all these amazing friends who go out of their way to check up on you and ask if you want to hang out. Of course, all that complaining is just in your internal monologue. It's not like anybody can hear your thoughts. Thank God for that. Well, I'm so glad you and Sarava have each other. Maybe you can go hang out with them and make fun of me some more. You try to tell Zebede you were absolutely not making fun of him. You were just curious about his hobbies and interests. You absolutely want to read his fanfiction. But the kid isn't listening anymore. Fuck. You hope the car has enough gas to get you back to civilization. Well, shit. Poor Zebede. Alright, we're gonna take the obvious failure route, and then we'll, see what sending Sarava to voicemail is like. You say it must be nice to live in the countryside. You mentioned that you did get to see some of rural Alternia when you met Skila, and it seemed beautiful. Zebede's face twists into a grimace. Yeah, I guess. Sensing this is a moment for sympathy, you tell him you're sure his friends would come visit if they weren't able to, or if they were able to make the trek. Sure. It sounds like you did visit another troll that lives in the countryside, though. So I guess you thought she was cooler than me. That's like... it's whatever. I don't need my friends to pick me first. You struggle for words. You want to reassure him, but you also don't know him that well yet. You weakly protest that you didn't mean to say Skyla was cooler than him. You didn't even know him then. Maybe you'll be able to visit him in the future, too. Yeah, maybe. I've heard that before. He's not rejecting you, but you get the sense that a wall has been raised. You're sure you're going to keep chatting with Zebede from time to time, but you get the sense you're never going to become a true friend. You're stuck in acquaintanceship limbo. Looks like you've failed to earn his trust. Ah, that stings. Well, shit. All right. I don't know if I'd call him sassy. Alright, so let Sarava go to voicemail. You decide to just let the call go to voicemail. You're busy with a different friend right now, and you can just call them back on your drive home. Or, not home, but the closest you've got right now. It will give you something to do besides sleep. You mess around on your phone for a little bit, filling out your profile on your chitter. Alien invasion of one. Just here, I guess. It's honestly the best you can come up with. You aren't quite sure how your age would translate to troll years sweeps, so you don't bother with that. You've already gained some more followers. Sarava retweeted your intro tweet, or chirp, whatever. Zebede comes back with a tray of snacks and 2 glasses of something bright red that you hope isn't Fago, or blood. But that goes without saying at this point. Hey, who were you talking to? I heard your palm husk go off. You tell him that you weren't talking to anybody. You let the call to go to voicemail. Does he really think you're the kind of person who would take a call from someone else while you're having a hang sesh? Heck no. Aw, you didn't have to do that. Zebede says that, but he's obviously incredibly happy that you did. He sets the tray down and hops up on the couch next to you. So, what do you want to do? I have a bunch of really cool stuff we could check out, but I didn't want to make you just do whatever I wanted. I know we barely know each other, haha. You tell him that whatever he wants to do is fine with you. You aren't picky in any sense of the word. Zebede seems a little at sea by your lack of an opinion. But eventually he puts on the first episode of a pirate show. This is nice. It's nice to just chill for a little while. But you barely get through the opening credits before Zebede changes his mind and puts up a show about space pirates instead. But then he gives up on that too. He keeps looking at you for input, but the extent of your experience with troll pop culture is Remele's knockoffs and that one shitty romance flick Polypa took you to see. You are not informed enough to have an opinion. You are seriously down for whatever. Zebede does the same thing with video games for a while, becoming increasingly more distressed. You feel deep empathy at his plight, but also mild annoyance. You understand this unreasonable fear of beefing it in front of your friends. You feel like that pretty much all of the time. You eventually suggest to Zebede that you could just watch the last thing he watched on GrubTube. Zebede goes a delicate gray color that you've come to realize is the troll version of a Blanche. Yeah, we could do that for sure, but, you know, a guy's GrubTube queue is, you know, kind of personal. Not that I don't trust you. If you can't trust randos you met online and invited to your house, who can you trust, right? You feel that way too. You've also felt the overwhelming urge to throw yourself into the arms of strangers since you crash-landed down here. You tell Zebede that you aren't going to judge him. You don't judge your friends. An overwhelming look of trembling gratitude comes over him, and once again, you feel an uncomfortable pulse of empathy. You are used to being the desperate one. You aren't sure how you feel about this turnabout. All this social power. Okay. The two of you scroll down through the history on his GrubTube account, and you find yourself choked up by the incredible trust he is showing in you right now, letting someone behind the curtain. There doesn't really seem to be anything worth getting stressed over, no porn or anything. He does have a lot of videos of Sarava, specifically ones where they are actually on camera. Yeah, they're so cool. It's so rad that you guys are tight. I really want to meet them someday. He sighs, then he sighs again, a little louder. You catch on to your part in this bit and tell him that you can probably figure out a way to make that happen. You hope you don't have to follow through on that. Sarava's a busy guy and you aren't sure they actually let anyone into their hive, well, besides you. But you seem to be the exception to a number of rules. You keep that last part to yourself. The rest of the videos in his recent history are about a band called Hatched to Dance, music videos, interviews, and compilations of vlogs. You ask him what all this is. You've never heard of H2D? Really? They're so cool, they're my fave. I mean, he gets shifty-eyed. I mean, whatever, they're alright, I guess. Haha. Their music is kinda catchy, and they have a pretty dope group dynamic. You mentioned that all of them seem to be pretty good looking, too. Really? You think so? You point out a guy with tall horns that swoosh into hooks and a lot of white hair that falls into his eyes. This guy is particularly handsome. Him? I mean, he's okay, I guess. If you're really basic. Not that I think you're basic or anything. He shows you some of the music videos. They have really high production values and extremely elaborate sets. All of the band members sing and dance and get very close to kissing each other. He'd been really nervous about showing you this. His deep dark secret was that he likes music videos. Is being into pretty pop stars some kind of cultural taboo? Not really. Just, it's kind of lame, right? And I just really want you to like me. Yeah, that's pretty obvious, and you do like him. You just wish he wouldn't say shit like that. It's embarrassing. And also it reminds you that you yourself have gone around doing pretty much the same thing. Pretending to agree with everything your prospective friends say, lying, saying you're into things you aren't. Just all around being a big phony. The circumstances are different for you, though. You're an alien. This is hostile territory. You don't have a hive or a lucis or even horns. So it's way less pathetic for you to be like this than it is for Zebede. Right? Deep down, you know you're full of shit. You're just coming up with reasons to excuse behavior in yourself that you condemn in others. You hang your head in shame. Zebede, who is not privy to your internal monologue, looks confused. Is it possible that you're doing the wrong thing in your eternal quest for friends? Could it be that... Before you can spiral any further into a full-blown existential crisis, you hear a noise from outside that you really, really don't like. Several noises, in fact. A crash, followed by a thump. Followed by a, "Get out here, you fucking piece of shit, you thief!" Oh dear. Zebede scrambles around to look over the back of the couch, and you can just make out a shape through the window. Hey, this is a totally wild question that I typically would never ask a potential friend, but did you steal that scuttle buggy? Ha, funny story. You didn't know how else to get out here. You did it for him, for your nascent friendship. Wow, nobody's ever stolen a scuttle buggy for me before. Did you forget to take the GPS chip out, though? Because I think whoever you stole it from found it. GPS chip. Right. Fuck. This is not an auspicious start to your life of crime. Maybe you aren't quite ready to go it alone yet. Another crash and rattle. It sounds like someone is taking pieces out of Zebede's hive. You get up and start for the door. Hey, what are you doing? You can't go out there, they look big. And they sound huge, you'll get killed. Right, he's definitely got a point there. But whoever is outside seems intent on demolishing his hive brick by brick, so they're gonna get in eventually anyway. Better for you to go out there now and face the music, so at least one of you gets out of this. Zebede stares at you. Weird, globby, golden tears pool at the corners of his eyes. You would do that for me? Nobody's ever offered to die for me before. That's so nice. Yeah, you're pretty nice. Also pretty idiotic considering you're about to give yourself up to a big angry troll whose car you absolutely stole. Well, it's been fun while it lasted. Actually, it's been mostly terrible. Oh well. Goodbye, cruel world. Wait! You have one hand on the doorknob when Zebede's shout rings against the walls and ceiling. No one is touching my new friend! Outside, the buzzing rises to a rattling crescendo so loud that it no longer sounds like animals. It sounds like weather or a fighter jet. The intruder screams. You wince, but you are also overwhelmed by gratitude and excitement. Zebede did that for you. The screams stop after a few seconds, and the buzzing gradually recedes. You and Zebede are left staring at the door, then at each other. Behind you, GrubTube is auto-playing an H2D interview. Little ambient crackles of the white electricity you've come to associate with physics wreaths Zebede. Before that fades too. Did he seriously telekinetically gather up a bunch of bees and just throw them? No, that sounds hard and potentially dangerous for the bees. I more just asked them nicely. I'm bad at it though, sometimes it doesn't work. Well, it sure worked this time. Yeah! Zebede nods, then he nods again. Yeah! That was pretty cool, right? The two of you venture outside to see what's going on. Nothing is going on. The night is quiet. The car is exactly where you left it, and there's no sign of the bees or the intruder. So either they ran away, or got stung so many times they dissolved into sludge. You feel another pang of conscience, but it's not enough to cover up your ecstatic surge of happiness when you see how chuffed Zebede is to have set some bees on a guy. You tell him you're grateful. You think about adding that you're proud of him, but you don't want to literally make him explode. You let him hug you instead. Guess this means you have a scuttlebuggy now? Yeah, spoils of war. You want some buttery exploded kernels? I make them myself. Well, I put the kernels in a pot and explode them. You tell him that sounds great. He's honestly pretty fun to visit. Minus the sudden attack, you're having a really nice time, and that part was honestly entirely your fault. He should quit putting himself down so much and being such a desperate piece of shit. You mean that in the nicest way possible, and it's pretty good advice in general. You know, just to have floating around out there. Alright, cool. So that was Zebede. Interesting. Wonder... Just a moment. Need to do a real quick check. I am going to be checking. So, I like to do this after I've met characters. I'm checking what his aspect was. Light? Gembio. Oh, you know what? Actually, that makes sense. He was very desperate to be the center of somebody's attention. But he never is. Due to being one of the world's chosen sufferers. A goldblood. Interesting. I kind of pick up on that. I'm slowly starting to understand how the aspects seem to intertwine in relation to each other. I'm picking up on it a lot faster. All right, Tegiri Kalbur. In an utterly unsurprising turn of events, the night finds you trolling Alternia in search of, well, trolls. The friendly type, preferably, although you've been known to work wonders with hostile folks, too. Your current hunting ground appears to be a primarily teal neighborhood, which suits you fine. Teals live relatively comfortably and are usually only mildly disdainful of you, which strikes you as a good place to search for companionship. You've got another pressing concern, though. A faint glow far on the horizon, which suggests that the sun will be rising soon, a couple hours from now at most. Nights on Alternia seem to last forever, but when the daylight hits, it hits hard. Like a truck, but the truck is on fire, and the fire is nuclear fusion, and the truck is a star. Point is, you're not in the mood for another sunburn. You'd better snag a buddy before it's too late. You, the strange hornless thing. Speak of the devil. You whip around and spot a troll boy with a stylish hat and a sword sheathed behind his back. His clothes are a little shabby, and he carries himself with a rigid, composed air. What are you? Some kind of mutant troll? Or another sentient creature? Definitely the latter, you say, unless he would prefer the former, in which case you're that. But mutants, you've learned, are not particularly well liked on this planet. An alien? I won't have to cull you then. Not immediately, at least. You don't appear to be a cull on-site species. Lucky for you that I don't have to loose my blade, and lucky for me to have found a potential comrade. I know what you seek. Shelter and friendship, not necessarily in that order. You're about to speak up, but he's already moving on. You seek the meeting place of the Eastern Alternian Fine Animated Art Appreciation Society. Or as some less cultured souls would call it, the Anime Club. Oh, a club! Back home, teachers used to go on and on about how clubs were a wonderful place to meet new friends. You didn't really believe it then, but maybe things are different here on Alternia. You definitely assert that yes, you are here for the animes. Good. I feared I was going to have to cancel tonight's meeting due to no-shows, but now it can proceed as scheduled. Follow me. I know this song. This is Arcade Thunder, isn't it? I think this is Arcade Thunder. He gestures toward his hive and begins to stride confidently towards it, but then he rethinks it, pausing to look back at you. Wait. Subs or dubs? Both are good? His expression immediately sours, a look you're all too familiar with. If you had a mouse, you'd be frantically scrolling the wheel upwards to roll back time and make a new choice. But you live in the real world, where you have to face the consequences of your god-awful anime opinions. Have you no conviction? The Anime Club is a sanctuary for those of strong will and finely toned arguments, not a shelter for cowardly piss-ants. What debate can come from a sycophantic toady such as yourself? How are you going to stimulate my intellect? You begin to sputter in protest. You're plenty stimulating. You've got a pretty long list of friends who you've stimulated in all kinds of ways. Platonic ones mostly, but he's not having any of it. There are other anime fans in this city. Perhaps their gatherings will be more your level. Farewell. Okay. Alright. I see how it is. Alright. We're gonna do the least popular option. The one that everyone that has ever done an anime will hate. Maybe. Dubs. Perfect. Oh my god. A fellow connoisseur. Let's continue. Okay. Well, you know what? It's Alternia, so I guess that I should have expected that. Tegiri invites you into his hive with a sweeping bow, and you step into the foyer. The hive looked normal from the outside, normal by troll standards at least, but the inner decor has an entirely different vibe to it. It reminds you of Japanese architecture. Tegiri takes off his sandals before entering the next room, You take off your shoes too, if you had any. As you step into his living room, you are assaulted, not literally, thankfully, by an absolute smorgasbord of merchandise. This place looks like someone did a Gorgle search for Otaku collection and opened the first result. Posters and scrolls adorn every inch of wall available, and the inches of wall that aren't available are blocked by shelves containing all sorts of DVDs, manga, and other such forms of media. On a large glass shelving unit near the room's exit, you spy a veritable cornucopia of anime figurines, most of whom seem to be in varying states of undress. You would like to describe it as tasteful nudity, but you would also like to describe yourself as the most popular person on Alternia, and both would be a lie. Tegiri has arranged his merch meticulously according to blood color, from red at the bottom to fuchsia at the top. I see you are admiring my fine East Alternian collectibles. I polish them daily just as I polish my blade. Don't touch them, or you'll taste folded steel. You slowly retract your hand. You wouldn't dream of touching them. That was never ever something you were planning on doing. You won't even breathe on them. In fact, you step far away from the collectibles, just in case. With that step, you bump into something behind you and hear a soft ruff. As you spin around to look, you see what must be Tegiri's Lucis surveying you with an intense gaze. No, this isn't... No, it is. I think it is. It looks a lot like a Shiba Inu, if they were twice the size and had opposable everything. Honestly, watching it scuttle around like a monkey while sniffing at you is pretty entrancing. Eventually, you seem to meet its standards because it darts out of the room. You hear some rustling in what you assume is the kitchen. That was Tadashi Inu, my Lucis. He taught me everything I know. I could not have asked for a better sensei. Yeah, dogs are great, you respond, and then immediately wish you could take that back. Dogs are great. That's gotta be the blandest possible statement you could have made. And possibly inaccurate, too? What's this thing called? A bark beast? A fetch fiend? A wolf gremlin? Oh, Tegiri isn't even paying attention to you anymore. He's busy perusing his shelves, picking out some DVDs. Per my viewing schedule, we'll watch a carefully curated selection of episodes from one classic and from one recent release. But, since you're a newcomer, it might be best not to jump into the middle of Last About series, Philosopher Half-Iron. Full Metal Alchemist? Perhaps we shall instead begin with the first season of School-Fed Heroism and transition into some episodes of Kismet-Stuck Morning. I have a lot of questions. The original airing, of course, not the censored one with the ridiculous CGI dragon. Ugh. Looks like Tegiri intends to take full control of the morning's activities, which you find entirely copacetic. The less you need to assert your own opinions and make your own choices, the less likely you are to fuck up. It's probably not a healthy way to live, but it's gotten you somewhere between 1 to 19 friends so far, so you're sticking to it. With deft and precise movements, Tegiri retrieves a disc from its container and pops it into the troll equivalent of a DVD player. It makes a slimy chugging noise as it sucks the disc in, and like usual, you aren't sure if it's an inanimate object or a living being. Either way, you're a little disgusted. The DVD player hums and Tegiri's TV lights up with a colorful title screen. You're ready to get settled in for a journey through the wonderful world of the animes, but he frowns and pauses the episode less than a minute in. Hang on. This isn't the correct copy. The localization on these lines was changed after the original translator was culled by a purple blood for crimes against buffoonery. I specifically ordered the first edition and paid extra for it. This is unacceptable. Tegiri stops the DVD player, ejects the disc, and places it back in its case. Come, there's still time in the night. We need to go resolve this immediately.
The shop that imported it for me is nearby.
He heads for the door and beckons for you to follow, which you do. You guess it was too much to hope for a quiet morning inside, wasn't it? At least you get to go shopping for animes, which sounds fun enough. Will it be at one of those fancy automated stores, you wonder?
No. Unlike most stores in Alternia, this specialty shop is run by a living troll. A fellow collector who would not entrust such work to an automaton. So one would expect with an actual think pen involved, there would be no careless mistakes like this! At least I'm on good terms with the owner, so I doubt there will be trouble.
You, on the other hand, expect plenty of it. Pretty much everything on this goddamn planet has been troubled so far. Does he know how awful it is here? You don't want to human-splain to him or anything, but things are pretty awful here. Things are pretty awful here. Oh, you guess he knows. He's staring at one of the many billboards that line the streets, which has been defaced with bright red graffiti. It's saying some pretty nasty stuff about Trizza.
Rebel sentiments grow by the moment. Alternia lies on the verge of peril, a blade's edge. And not any blade, but the blade of a razor-sharp folded steel katana. Forged under the East Alternian moonlight. Heated by the bellows breath of a magnificent draconian Lucis. Cooled by the shimmering cascade of an acid waterfall. And fit to be handled only by a true expert. Do you dance?
You're a little caught off guard by that question. Dancing? As in, moving one's body to music?
In a way, yes. Moving to the sweet music of steel on steel, the rhythm of combat, the stiletto step that weaves death and glory into one beautiful motion. Do you dance?
Oh, sword fighting, of course. You really should have figured that one out. This guy's dial has only 2 settings, talking about swords or talking about anime. Sometimes he gets particularly frisky and talks about both at once. You tell him that you don't know how to handle swords, but they seem really cool, and you'd love to learn.
Cool? Swordplay is more than cool. It is a way of life, a code of honor. To pick up the blade is to bind yourself to the tenets of Bushido, and to be prepared at all times to enforce justice, the only way a true swordsman knows, through steel. Someday, the pursuit of justice may bring me face to face with these rebel scum. I must be ready to show them the true magnificent terror of the blade. Who knows? Maybe I would even be awarded a Congressional Medal of Honor. A troll can dare to dream.
So that's why he practices swordplay, huh? To enforce justice. Kind of like a vigilante?
Vigilante? Please. I would only ever cull a troll who legally deserved death. What kind of lawless moron do you take me for?
You don't take him for a moron at all. In fact, he's very smart and clever and just. You hope you're not laying it on too thick, but he seems to enjoy the praise.
We're here. This won't take too long.
He's taken you to a night market that reminds you of the place where you met Polypa. A strip mall lies to the left of the many tents and the stalls, and a sign above one door reads, Super Topato Imports. As you enter, Tegiri makes a beeline for the counter, which is manned by a greasy-looking goldblood with pinkish-looking eyes. You, on the other hand, are more interested in the rest of the store. It looks a lot like Tegiri's living room, but bigger. Anime figurines on sale for what looks to be a preposterous amount of money. DVDs and comics lining the shelves. Arcade games in the corner. There's even a section for replica swords, which all look far too sharp and legitimately deadly for your liking. Skulking between the shelves is an olive blood guy. You can't quite tell if he works here or if he's just browsing. You're not sure if any trolls even have normal jobs. You're about to ask the olive blood guy about a particularly interesting DVD when you're distracted by a commotion at the counter. You're pretty sure you heard Tegiri snarling something about his rights as a consumer. Looks like trouble is brewing. You turn your head toward the counter and listen in.
Do you really think you can get away with ripping me off like this? Do you know who I am? My blood-cased? A teal blood like me has connections, a vast network of like-minded souls at my beck and call, ready to be unsheathed against my hapless foes. The legal force I can bring to bear against you is greater than your puerile mind can ever imagine. A fleet of legislacerators will descend on you like shadow clones, each armed with the greatest weapon of them all, knowledge. And with our intricate understanding of the Alternian legal code, you will be mired in suits so myriad, so mind-numbing, you will wish for the swift and early death my blade can provide. Or you can offer me an exchange of equal or greater value to my original purchase. Which path will you choose to walk, scum?
Christ. Literally an anime character on Alternia. You wander closer to the counter, hoping you might be able to help resolve the situation, but instead you blunder right into the olive blood and send a box tumbling from his hands to the ground. A bunch of assorted products spill out as the shopkeeper gasps dramatically. You don't see what the big deal is. Looks like some more DVDs and manga. One cover features a troll with heart-shaped horns and a bright pink sign, and another features some red-blooded douchebag wearing pants way too tall for him. Oh my god. You're gonna bring Pants Cat into this? Tegiri picks up one of the mangas and waves it in front of the shopkeeper's face.
Care to explain what I'm looking at here? Imperial Dictate number the 2nd, Section 3.2. The depiction of non-standard hemological attributes is strictly forbidden. Imperial Dictate number the 7th, Section 5. Material which encourages action against the state is considered contraband of the highest degree.
The olive blood, who can clearly see the situation careening downhill like a scuttle buggy without wheel stops, begins to creep towards the door. You'd love to do the same, but you can't give up on a potentially new friendship. It's basically pathological. It and rule lawyer run.
To think that my favorite Eastern Alternian hobby shop could stoop so low as to peddle this criminal filth. What a sickening betrayal.
The shopkeeper stammers, offering a litany of muddled explanations that only seem to incense Tegiri further. He was holding it for a friend. No, wait, it's satire? Tegiri slams a palm down on the counter and his eyes shoot open, revealing dark purple irises with a strange swirl pattern. Oh no, he's literally an anime character!
Imperial Dictate number 61st, Section 2. Satire is especially contraband. You think you can mess with me? I've watched countless hours of legal drama, played and replayed legendary legislacerator, and memorized every twist. I know the law back and forth. And now it's time for the punishment due. You're fucking dead, kiddo.
Fucking A. As Tegiri leans over the counter, his free hand grips the hilt of his katana and tenses. Ready to draw, he's about to straight up execute this guy. I'm gonna defend the shopkeeper. Okay, you know this is a terrible idea, but you've seriously had it up to here with being party to the murder of random trolls. You quickly interpose yourself between Tegiri and the goldblood. Does he really have to kill this guy for what seems to be his first offense? You launch into an impassioned spiel about love and friendship and justice, riding the value of forgiveness and second chances really hard. And for good measure, you throw in a little side note about how Tegiri's favorite shop will close down if he kills this dude.
Silence.
Tegiri shoves you roughly aside and you go careening into a display full of body pillows. You watch, stomach plummeting, as Tegiri turns back to the shopkeeper and slowly draws his sword. But then, the last second, he reconsiders.
Consider yourself lucky I'm in a good mood. If I catch you selling contraband again, your life will be mine.
Tegiri strides out of the store, folding a fresh copy of the DVD he wanted to exchange. You give the shopkeeper a vaguely apologetic look, and rush out of the store behind him. Oof, it was a close one. You thanked Tegiri profusely for listening to your dumb little speech about whatever it was you said. Honestly, you already forgot.
You're clearly new to this planet. I felt pity for your naivete. But I should have just killed him. Death is the legally prescribed punishment for such crimes as his. Actually, it's the legally prescribed punishment for most crimes. I should have separated him from his head. But I looked into your pleading eyes and I saw...
Tegiri goes quiet. You would describe the silence as being particularly brooding. There's a lot of silences like that on this planet. Then, finally, he speaks.
This isn't my first time. It was just over a sweep ago, I believe. I was patrolling the Hive Batch in search of evildoers when I caught the unmistakable scent of smoke in the air. Upon pursuing the lead, I saw a hive, partially collapsed, partially on fire. My instincts flared and I rushed in to help the innocent soul who was trapped there. But as I was helping the girl bandage her wounds, it occurred to me that I had made a grievous error in judgment. Trolls below a certain age without a lucis or a proper hive are considered unviable and slated to be culled. By rights, I should have put her out of her misery, the moment I realized my mistake. And yet, I looked into her deep gray eyes, dulled from the pain of loss, and I sheathed my blade. In fact, even though she is hiveless and lucisless, I remain in contact with her to this day, knowing deep down that one day I must cull her. The law demands it. But I haven't yet. I don't know if I could. Why does my conviction waver at times like these?
If he's talking about who you think he's talking about, you're pretty sure he couldn't kill her even if he tried. But that's not the point here. The point is, he's spilling some real and true deep emotion with you. This friendship is basically in the bag. Just gotta drop some sweeping, vague wisdom that makes him feel better about potentially not being an unthinking cog in the Alternian murder machine. You offer a light suggestion that maybe what is legal and what is just aren't always the same thing. Just a little thought. Maybe he's doing the right thing, overlooking her situation because of how obviously fucked up it is to be a homeless orphan. He goes silent for a long time, chewing his bottom lip.
You're naive. Naive, uncultured, unenlightened.
Wow, thanks.
You think the world is simple, like a cartoon for children. But this is Alternia, a land ruled by cold logic, where men such as myself must take the hard decisions. Make. It's not easy being dedicated to the code of law. It asks much of us and gives us little in return, but it gives us order and keeps the beasts at bay. If I were to question it, what then? Would I begin to wonder if it is unjust for a blue blood to command his servants? For imperial drones to cull the infirm? For us to obey the ever-changing whims of the Alternian royalty? It takes a lot of effort to suppress your, well, yeah, but for the sake of his burgeoning friendship, you allow him to continue his monologue. Riots in the streets, troll killing troll, even more than usual, I mean. No, I cannot waver. These hands must remain steady and true. Though I feel a pull towards the scorching fangs of the light, I must continue my path, remain in the tender, righteous embrace of the dark. Truth be my blade, intellect my sensei, and justice my only companion on this lonely road.
It goes on like that for quite a while. It all starts to muddle together in your head, and you lose count of how many times he's repeated some screed about justice and truth and being smarter than all the other trolls in the room. It honestly sounds to you like he's just lonely. You know a whole lot about loneliness and the poor management thereof. Some people throw themselves into their nerdy anime hobby, and others become obsessed with making friends no matter the cost to their mental or physical well-being. Maybe he just needs a couple of good pals to remind him what it's like to have a heart.
But if you try to tell him that, he'll probably just respond with another long and winding monologue, likely stolen from an anime he watched recently. Maybe you should just let him vent. You have my thanks for lending your ear. Oh, a compliment brings you out of your reverie. Nothing interrupts the old introspection machine like the opportunity to chug on the succulent ambrosia that is any kind of praise or gratitude. It's no big deal, you tell him. You're a great listener. That's what friends are for. Has he considered having more friends? Like you, for example? He opens his mouth like he's about to reiterate the whole lone swordsman thing, so you hastily try to change the topic. What's with his eyes? Most trolls you've seen have had gray irises. Those who didn't follow the typical biological trend of displaying their blood color. Tegiri pauses, his grip tensing on his sword as his fangs dig into his lip. Oh geez, this must be his most closely guarded secret. Have you earned enough trust to hear it? They're contact lenses, for cosplay. Oh. Fair enough. Actually, is cosplaying as a different blood caste even legal on this planet? If he's doing it, it probably is, right? You're about to ask when something distracts you, the sight of another troll standing in front of Tegiri's hive, using it as shelter from the rising sun. They're pacing back and forth with precise movements, glancing at one of the windows almost like they're plotting to break in. And when they hear footsteps approaching, they perk up and whirl their head around. Hey, wait a second, you recognize them. Polapa spots you before Tegiri spots her. Her expression is hard and stoic, eyes glancing between the two of you as she assesses the situation. And then, like she's throwing on a disguise, her face softens and she smiles. Hey Tegs. I was starting to wonder where you were and if anime night was cancelled. Ulysses is staring at me through the window. I think he thinks it's funny, watching me stuck outside. Roasting to death while you're chasing purr beasts around the hive batch. Classic Tadashi. Why were you late? Just busier than expected, with some work. She shoots you a sharp glance. Assembling some new mecha models. You know how it is. Yes, of course. It's all too easy to get wrapped up in one's hobby. Anyway, I didn't realize we'd have a third for once. Not to mention somebody I know. Nani? You and my new kohai have already met? She pauses, her eyes darting back and forth between you two once more. She seems to be assessing the situation, wearing a look like an assassin trying to evade capture. You recognize that look, considering she was literally wearing it the last time you met. We're kinda moirels. Whoa. That's absolutely not what you thought you were, but you just kind of nod your head and roll with it. It seems to be what she wants you to do. Oh. Moirels. Tegiri's face tightens almost imperceptibly, but you caught it. Nothing gets past your owned friend-making eyes. Well, actually a lot of things get past them, but not this particular thing. You're finely tuned to the nuances of social situations, as long as those nuances don't involve making a binary choice on which your social future hinges. Well, as you know, I am far too busy studying the blade to pursue quadrants of any sort. A foolish waste of time. Were it not for the laws of this land, I would swear off them entirely. Are you sure it isn't that you just can't get a date? You don't have to play the mysterious loner, you know. There's other clubs you can join instead of insisting on running your own. He huffs, looking away. You hear his Lucis barking from behind the window in a tone that sounds like laughter. Fools mock that which they cannot understand. And to think I was going to congratulate you on finding love. Once you finished your spiel about romance and being dumb... Wait. You think I was going to congratulate you on finding love once you finished your spiel about romance being dumb. Got it. Polapa gives him a light, friendly whap, which he responds to with a smile. You can tell the exchange is friendly, not only because he's smiling, but because he's still standing. Enough banter. The harsh glare of the sun begins to crest, and we have Eastern Alternian animation to indulge in. I'll allow you both to spend the day at my hive, if needed. There's space. Oh shit, a slumber party?
And with more than one participant even? That's got to be worth extra friend points. You are so in. Shelter from the broiling death orb in the sky barely even registers to you as an added bonus. Polypa smiles at you as the three of you enter Tegiri's hive. Tegiri covers up all of the windows to block out the sun, and then starts up the new copy of his DVD, which thankfully seems to meet his standards this time. You settle in on the couch, basking in the warm glow of friendship, and prepare to lose yourself to hours of the beautiful, wonderful animes. Wonderful. All right. So there was that, but there were still some choices we didn't pick, so we gotta blitz through it again. Subs. Oh my god! I forgot that I had skip on. Subs seems to be another okay thing. So let's see what the slight difference is, because I'm sure he'll say something different.
It's entertaining how wrong you are. But even the greatest of Alternia's philosophizers required sparring opponents on the battlefield of the intellect. To challenge your assumptions with my superior logic and taste will be a fulfilling task. Come in.
Not the reaction you were hoping for, but you'd say anything to get into someone's hive, so you'll take it. And then everything proceeds as normal. Don't intervene. You really don't want to get in between the shopkeeper and Tegiri's sword. For all you know, this really does warrant an immediate execution, so who are you to judge? You do, however, squint a little so you don't have to see the full gory detail of the culling. Turns out, it's not nearly as gory as you expected. Tegiri leaps over the counter and swings wildly at the guy, but many of his attacks fail to connect. It's mostly a bunch of bombastic anime-style moves that don't translate well to actual combat. Still, some strikes hit home, drawing a spray of murky gold blood that jolts the shopkeeper out of his petrified fear. He screeches and unleashes a strobing psionic blast from his eyes, causing Tegiri to stagger back, disoriented. The flash of light doesn't seem to have caused any real damage, but it offers the perfect opportunity to flee. By the time your eyes have adjusted, the only thing they see is the back door swinging wildly in its wake. Or in his wake. Unsurprisingly, the olive blood is nowhere to be seen as well. Tegiri glances down at his katana, stained with the blood of the shopkeeper, and slowly sheathes it. His hand is shaking, claws tapping the hilt restlessly. He turns slowly to you, forcing himself back into his usual stoic posture. He got lucky, that's all. But he can't hide forever. Let's go. We need to report this to a drone. He strides out of the shop, leaving you to follow hurriedly behind. What a mess. You hesitantly ask him whether it was really necessary to try and kill that boy for what he did.
Of course it was. The law is absolute. A foreigner like you might not understand. It is not my duty to question the righteousness of my actions. I am but a tool through which the law is enforced. I am the blade that her imperious condescension wields to maintain order in this world of chaos. Just like this drone. He gestures to one of the big hulking drones that you've grown all too familiar with during your stay here on Alternia. Right now, it looks like it's cleaning up some bronze-colored blood that was spattered on the side of a building. Tegiri approaches and hails it, beginning to explain that there's a collector shop he needs to report for rebel activity, but the drone isn't listening to any of that. It slowly turns from him to stare directly at you, and it raises its weapon to your face. A grating electronic noise issues from its metallic grill. In the immortal words of a wise cartoon dog, Ruh-roh. Hold it! This creature is under my protection. It has committed no crime. If you continue this attempted culling, I will strike back with my katana. And a strongly worded letter to your superiors.
The drone seems supremely annoyed that it can't just get right down to culling a motherfucker, but Tegiri's case must be just high enough to give it pause. You, the motherfucker in question, are incredibly relieved. That relief quickly fades when the drone produces a palm husk with a blurry picture of you on the screen and a lot of text beneath, most of it flashing red. That's never a good sign. It looks like a rap sheet. Tegiri reads through it quickly, which is a pretty impressive feat considering his eyes are still closed. His expression darkens the further down he gets. Wanted under suspicion of meat product theft. Wanted under suspicion of heist of fine art. Accomplice to the assassination of a violet blood. Oof. You didn't realize you'd racked up such a heavy list of crimes. He's already rounding on you with fury radiating off every inch of his being. It's terrifying. You've seen this guy arguing with a retail clerk. You know what he's capable of. All this time, I thought your soul was open to the way of the samurai. I thought I had met a potential new connoisseur of the animated arts. But no. Your blood pusher pumps only lies through your villainous veins. You were just looking for an alibi, a place to bide your time, to hide away from the drones until it was time to indulge once more in your criminal ways. You tried to defend yourself. You didn't do any of those things, and you had a perfectly good reason for most of them. Tegiri isn't buying it. He's clutching his katana's hilt so tight, veins are bulging on his hand. Silence, coward. The time has come for my blade to strike true. Ha! He draws his blade in a smooth motion and swipes at you. You just barely manage to sidestep the attack. You dart backwards, stumbling over yourself in your haste to get away while he swings his katana wildly around while making lots of weird grunting noises. Once again, his mouth has been writing a check his sword head can't cash. But you doubt that matters when trolls are stronger and faster than you in general, and he's accompanied by a giant murder drone. It's time for you to split, and you'd better do it lickety. Glancing around, you notice that you're about to cross over a bridge with an underpass beneath it. Perfect, just like an action hero, you can hop right over the edge of the road, duck into the underpass, and find a nice hiding spot. You dash toward the traffic barrier, vault nimbly over it, and oh Jesus piss, this is way higher than you thought it was. You hit the ground hard with a resounding crack, and for a moment your vision goes blank as a wave of pain sears your nerves. As the pained disorientation begins to fade, you decide it's about time to take stock of your situation. A couple of broken bones, old hat, a troll trying to kill you, not unfamiliar, drones attacking you, same, and sun about to rise and scorch you into nothing, again. Individually, you've risen to the challenge of just barely handling each of these problems, but all at once, yeah, you think you're just gonna call this one here. Oh. Useless. Okay. So, interesting. I didn't think that we were, that the meat thing was going to get brought up. Wanted for an accomplice. Somebody. How did we get reported for that? I don't remember our character being seen. Like, how did we get roped up in the assassination of the Violet Blood? That's interesting. I already forgot the second one. But damn. That's just a series of things that I didn't think we would get, that would get brought up. And also, I'm surprised that they're considered crimes on Alternia. But, hey, you know, what can you do? Well, I mean, not the assassination of the Violet Blood. That's totally crime-worthy. But hey, you know, what's life without a little attempted murder, right? So, he was... What was his element? Or his aspect? He was a teal blood, and he was... Yeah, that's the one. Libertarius. Sign of the hidden. Yeah, I can kind of see that. Because the void in him really wants to rebel. Like he's kind of got like this dual motif of conforming to society. That's one of the things about void, is conforming to society, but at the same time rebellion and breaking down society, which shows in his willingness to bend the rules a bit and justify that a little bit. Yeah, I can kind of see that, like, really. If he feels like it seems like if he feels that something, if he feels like conforming to society would be unjust in that moment, and that's very emotion driven, then he won't act upon the law. That seems to be, like, he's very emotion driven, and I think that's kind of a Void thing. Fucking Void is really, really confusing sometimes. It's always both ends of the spectrum of the things that it is. But I guess that's kind of the thing about Void, is it can never be something uniquely definable like that. It can never really be just one thing, because if it were, then you would know what it was. Anyway, so I think that's enough for now. A couple of my thoughts there at the end. I can see the aspects at work in both of these characters, and I'm quite thrilled to see it. I'm going to need a lot more experience with Void, with the Blue Bloods, and with Void characters that are not Blue Bloods, because I really want to learn. I want to see how it interacts with the world a little bit more, because it really seems like Void has this. Okay, so I'm doing a little theorizing here, not theorizing, but yammering. I do that a lot. Like the Homestuck fandom in general used to like really pile on the themes of duality on Gemini, but it seems like, and I mean, you can tell me if I'm wrong here, but it seems like that's Gemini clearly is not the only the only one with really heavy dual tones, because it seems like Void absolutely has a sense of duality about it, in a way that most of the other aspects kind of don't. Maybe there's a triad here somewhere. Maybe there's a third one that's also it's also really got a sense of duality about it. But Void, Void is more like Gemini was the. It seems like Gemini has an obvious duality built into it physiologically, whereas Void itself has a not a theological or theoretical. I'm struggling for words right now. Maybe that's because it's 11:31. I have no idea, but it really seems like it's got a different kind of duality to it that most other aspects don't seem to, at first glance, have. Because if I hearken to Equius specifically, he is probably the most confused character in all of the Homestuck fandom, or in all of the Homestuck canon, because he is stuck ideologically, mentally, psychologically, that's the same thing as mentally, in a constant limbo of not being able to decide whether he wants to abide by society's rules or rebel against them entirely. Because not only does he, because he's very very strict on the hemo-caste. He clearly has almost an obsession with it. But then at the same time, despite him being very adherent to the hemo-caste, he hates the sea dwellers. So for some reason, he holds this hatred for the highest castes of society, and yet he holds the hemo spectrum as sacred. It's just kind of like, you can't, Equius, you can't have both. But he can, because he does, and it's because Void. I'm just going on a fucking rant now. Anyways, if you enjoyed this stream, if you enjoyed this video, let me know, comment below, hit that like button, blah, 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 blah. I'm gonna stop rambling and get the fuck on with everyone's life. So, once again, thank you all for showing up. Have a fantastic day.